security detail for Anthony Fauci was terminated last night, and I'm wondering if you have any comment on that.
They can go out. I can give them some good numbers of very good security people. They can hire their own security. They all made a lot of money. Fauci made a lot of money. So thank you very much. We just heard that we have a great Secretary of Defense. I'm honored to have Pete. I think Pete's going to be a great Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and we're honored to have him. Winning is what matters, right?
What do you think the president's response, what do you think Congress's disposition should be toward Mexico saying you can't land?
Well, Mexico is going to have to find a way to want to welcome its own citizens back because they're going to come.
Brace yourselves. President Trump just delivered a stunning blow to Dr. Anthony Fauci, terminating his taxpayer-funded security detail in a shocking power move. Meanwhile, Pete Hegseth, Trump's new defense secretary, is dropping bombshell news on Mexico, shaking up border policies like never before. This dramatic double punch, it is sending shockwaves across Washington and beyond. What does this mean for America's future? Thank you so much for hitting the like button and sharing this video, and just wait until we uncover what mainstream media did not tell America.
Yeah.
Mr. President, the security detail for Anthony Fauci was terminated last night, and I'm wondering if you have any comment on that.
About what?
The security detail for Anthony Fauci was terminated last night, sir. Do you have a comment?
No, I think, when you work for government, at some point your security detail comes off. And, you can't have them forever. So I think it's very standard. If it would be for somebody else, you wouldn't be asking the question. The question is very fair. But, you work for government. We took some off, other people too. But you can't have a security detail for the rest of your life because you worked for government.
Ask for it to be taken off, sir?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Would you feel partially responsible if something were to happen to, say, Dr. Fauci or John Bolton?
No. They all made a lot of money. They can hire their own security, too. All the people you're talking about, they can go out. I can give them some good numbers of very good security people. They can hire their own security. They all made a lot of money. Fauci made a lot of money. They all did. So if they, felt that strongly, I think that certainly I would not take responsibility.
Is it just me, or have we seen President Trump more in a week than we saw former President Joe Biden in like 4 years? I mean, seriously. Now, we're covering a lot today, which includes the Trump administration finally getting some good news with Pete Hegseth. Dr. Anthony Fauci got some really bad news on his end, as he's now unable to use taxpayer funds. And Mexico is pushing back on mass deportations by not accepting their own citizens. So let's go ahead and hit the ground running with Dr. Anthony Fauci getting stripped of his taxpayer-funded security detail. Watch this. And guys, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys. Hope you're doing well today. Thanks for clicking the like button. Thank you so much for sharing this video. I really appreciate the help that you guys support me with in getting the truth out here. Let's get started.
Well, Mary Alice, we learned today that Dr. Anthony Fauci, the latest former federal official go up against Trump, let's say, a fierce critic, gets his security detail revoked. And not the first one. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo got his security detail pulled as well. I mean, is this the beginning of a revenge tour?
Maybe. Some people in D.C. are definitely saying that, asking those questions. Of course, Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, same story, even though we know that there have been threats against John Bolton's life from Iran. Trump also pulling his security detail. Look, Trump basically said, he took a question on this. He basically said, just because you worked in the government and faced threats doesn't mean the government's going to pay for you to have security forever. He basically said that Fauci and others can hire their own private security if they want. These are officials that have faced really tough threats, increased threats since the election and around the election. We are in such a heightened threat environment. It feels heartbreaking that violence has become more and more a part of not only the rhetoric, but the reality of political life in America. So this is definitely raising a lot of eyebrows, raising a lot of questions for the president. But that was his answer when reporters asked him. He said, just because you've had threats doesn't mean that we're going to pay for your security detail indefinitely.
And you got to love how ABC News talks about these things, right? All the while they forget that Dr. Anthony Fauci was making almost $500,000 annually while he was in office. He was making more money than the freaking president of the United States. Did y'all know that? And also, President Trump never said anything about threats to Fauci. You heard it like I did. There comes a time when these details are removed from the people. And since Fauci is more than capable of paying for his own security, that's probably what he should do. American taxpayers have already covered his expenses for the last 4 years. He should probably go ahead and pick up the tab at this point. Now, I just have to say, guys, like, where in the world were these journalists when RFK Jr. got rejected multiple times when he asked for security, right? Moving on, Vice President J.D. Vance just gave the Trump administration a huge win as he popped in to vote on the fate of Pete Hegseth. Check this out.
Okay, so we are getting word right now. J.D. Vance, okay, he is there. He is sitting down. He's going to be now the tie-breaking vote.
Are there any senators in the
Let's go live if we can get some sound.
Vote or change a vote? If not, on this vote, the yeas are 50 and the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the nomination is confirmed.
And there you have it. There you have it. With that tie-breaking decision by Vice President J.D. Vance, one of the biggest decisions, or the first big decision of the Trump administration, Pete Hegseth has officially been confirmed as the defense secretary under Donald Trump's administration.
President Trump talked to the press right after getting back with North Carolina and California. He wasn't initially made aware that Mitch McConnell voted against Pete Hegseth, and you're not going to believe how he responded to this.
So thank you very much. We just heard that we have a great Secretary of Defense. We're very happy about that, and we appreciate everybody's vote.
Are you concerned about any other nominations for confirmation in the Senate?
No, I'm honored to have Pete. I think Pete's going to be a great Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and we're honored to have him. No, I did speak to Pete, yeah, in the plane, in the helicopter. I think Pete is going to be a great Secretary of Defense.
Are you disappointed that McConnell voted no?
I didn't even know that. No, I don't know that. I just heard that we won. Winning is what matters, right? And very importantly, I think we had two fantastic meetings in North Carolina and also in Los Angeles. And we made a lot of progress. It's tragic events, really tragic. And we appreciate you being here, and we're going home.
3 Republicans voted against Hegseth, which included Mitch McConnell. Way to go, Mitch. Mitch McConnell defended his decision by saying that the role of a defense secretary is a daily test with staggering consequences for the security of the American people. Mr. Hegseth has failed as yet to demonstrate that he will pass the test. Now, we know that Mitch McConnell has always shown signs of being a rhino. That's probably not a secret to most of us, right? Now, what is surprising is that the president let him off a little easy here. But of course, there is still time for him to post something on social media, Truth Social, X maybe. But I guess he's content that Hegseth has been confirmed and maybe he doesn't even care. He's got other things to worry about. Although I do want you guys to see that while Republican senators were shaking hands with the vice president, Mitch McConnell instead chose to walk over and shake hands with Democrats. That's a little fishy. Now, it could be nothing, but it's obvious that this guy is not working for his own party. Now, the Trump administration is working very hard to deliver on these mass deportations. Thousands of troops have already been sent to the borders, and military planes are now sending illegal immigrants back to their homes. Images from the White House showed men whose hands and ankles were shackled as they were being led on a plane. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt posted it on X, saying that the president was sending a strong and clear message to the entire world. If you illegally enter the United States of America, you will face severe consequences. But there's a little confusion that's going on there because Mexico doesn't seem to have any interest in receiving criminals that came from their own country.
Hey, Pete, let me ask you something. What do you think the president's response, what do you think Congress's disposition should be toward Mexico saying you can't land?
Well, Mexico is going to have to find a way to want to welcome its own citizens back because they're going to come. But it's going to also require a little bit of help from members like Henry Cuellar and myself to talk common sense to our friends. We have friends in Mexico. We do a lot of business with Mexico, and it's important to Mexico and it's important to Texas also. And so, as my good friend Al Zaponte, who's president of U.S.-Mexico Chamber, would say, it's in both of our best interests to find a way to make it happen. Just the same thing that you said tonight.
Hey, Henry, what do you say to Democrats who say, look what happened in New Jersey? They caught some people. They rounded up that was supposed to be illegal entrants. They're not illegal entrants. They're citizens. They're veterans. You got to stop this effort. It's going to be a disaster. What do you say to them?
Well, I think you said it well at the beginning. You got to look at the big picture. What we're trying to do is to make sure that we protect the sovereignty of our nation, and that means border security. We just got to be careful when you go in and make sure that we don't profile and pick any Americans. But certainly, we need to make sure that we enforce and anybody that's not supposed to be here, start up with criminals, risk to national security, the 1.3 million final deportation orders that we have of individuals that should have left. Those folks, we should be focusing on them, especially the gangs and the criminals that we have here in the United States.
Now, as I was doing this research, I found out that Mexico is now willing to play ball, accepting multiple deportation flights in one day, meaning that they're now on board to receive many of these illegal immigrants who will probably be flown back on a consistent basis. I wonder what helped them change their tune. There are also reports that Mexico never intended to reject flights from the United States, but that paperwork issue left them with no choice at the start. Whatever the case may be, President Trump's mass deportation plans are already set in motion and they're underway. So here's my question. Are you on board with how fast things are going under President Trump? Let me know, guys. Did we see anything like this pace from President Biden? Now, I want to redirect you to another video that I did that's bound to affect multiple states, guys. President Trump announced that it's possible that he straight up eliminates FEMA as they held back relief to many disasters, including North Carolina, Florida victims, even people who had Trump signs in their yards. Anyway, make sure you guys check that video out after this one. As always, appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for sharing this video. Thank you for hitting the like button and subscribing. You guys are absolutely amazing. We'll see you guys next time.